mental abridgment of the age of majority. I believe it is directly responsible for the increase in binge drinking, which does not take place out in the open, but rather takes place behind closed doors, underground, in dark corners, and off campus, where legal age 21 has forced it. I am here to argue that if we are looking at all of the effects of legal age 21, we need first of all to agree that no one is for drunken driving, and we need to acknowledge that more lives are being lost each year to alcohol among 18 to 24-year-olds than have been saved allegedly by legal age 21 in the 23 years since it's been on the books. And lives lost to alcohol, other than on the roadways, are no less precious. We need to ask why those deaths are occurring, what the cause is, and what we might do about it. I'm here to argue that legal age 21, particularly in the state of Vermont, is emphatically anti-family. Any parent who attempts to educate his son or daughter in the responsible uses of alcohol and the privacy of the home is violating the laws of the state of Vermont, and effectively this law disenfranchises parents from playing any sort of educational role. And finally, I'm here to argue that even though the downward trend in alcohol-related traffic fatalities is an undeniable fact, that trend began before the law was passed in 1984. It has occurred in every age group, and in fact, it has remained essentially flat for the last 10 years. To the degree that legal age 21, in other words, is responsible for one of those things, we need to explain its responsibility for all of those things.
Professor McCardell,
however you'd like.
Okay. What was your motivation for starting your group, Choose Responsibility, and where do you see the bright line in your argument?
My personal motivation was also my professional motivation. There was not a particular eureka moment. Both as a parent and as an educator, I came fully to understand the impossible dilemma that this law poses for a campus and for a household. One either strictly enforces the law, in which case we know perfectly well all that does is uproot and transplant the problem to a much more risky and much less safe environment. Enforcement doesn't work. Every 1,000 violations of legal age 21 result in 2 arrests or convictions. Those who say all we need to do is enforce the law need to explain what multiples of dollars and manpower we need to expend in order to get that rate up to 4 out of 1,000 or 8 out of 1,000. This is a law that simply does not reflect social reality. All it does is create unsafe environments and put young lives at risk. The other option is to look the other way, to avert one's glance. And in that case, one is being an irresponsible parent, one is being an irresponsible educator because the message you're communicating is unmistakable. We observe the laws we choose to observe, and if we don't choose to observe this law, that's okay. That's irresponsible parenting, that's irresponsible leadership. That's the dilemma this law poses. That's the dilemma Choose Responsibility seeks to change.
Thank you. To my left is Barbara Harrington.
Hi, I'm the State Executive Director for Those Against Drunk Driving in Massachusetts, and I've been deputized to come here for MADD and to talk about why we're interested in this subject. Some of you know that MADD, the movement that became MADD, started in 1980, and it was generated by victims of drunk driving who found that the penalties and the prevention strategies in place to stop drunk driving and to punish drunk drivers when they had killed or injured people were simply inadequate to the task. Drunk driving was a laughing matter in those days. I think that everybody knows that that situation has changed dramatically. When MADD began in 1980, about 45,000 people were killed in drunk driving crashes. That's 0.08 or above in this country. That number is down to about 16,000 now, and it is resistant at this point to movement below that point. One of the reasons that, that we're here is that brain research that has been available and been developing over the last 15 years, but is still not informing public